How you doing, brother?
Doing wonderful, brother. Sorry, everybody, for my tardiness there. My boy plays basketball, and the coach called and said he's throwing up and everything. So I had to run. And
yeah, of course. So you have to do multiple things. How is he now?
He's throwing up, and with his mom now. So I'll check in now.
Okay. Welcome.
He's 14. I'm like, dude. He's 14. I'm like, dude, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
I'll check in later. Let me jump on this right now. Take care of it. Yeah.
We finally got you. I was hyping you up. I was like, hey, you know that song, My Worship? This is My Worship. He co-wrote that song, you know?
Cool.
So I was just hyping you up before this discussion that we're about to have. I am so excited to have you, brother. I'm so excited to have you. I wanted to really listen to your journey. Sometimes I know you're a motivational speaker and you speak to thousands, 10,000s of people all the time about, you know, and you inspire them to just be a better person and to find themselves, you know? So I really want to kind of understand your journey as, you know, the little man that came from Africa and traveled all the way across here to impact the world and spread more light. You know, so we can start anywhere. Like, where are you from? What's your beginnings?
Yeah, let's jump in, man. I grew up in Malawi, Africa. It's southeast part of Africa. It's literally one of the 10 poorest countries in the world. You know, grew up there. My parents literally came from the villages, man. My father used to take care of goats and cows and all that stuff. And he got a scholarship to go to England to study, and came back home, became the youngest college professor in the country. And,
wait. So your father, he wasn't educated before he left? How did that? But did he have education? You say he was tending goats. How did he get how did he even have a mindset to be beyond that world? You know what I mean? Sometimes you're tending goats, that's all you know. Especially if his father or his parents, you know? So how did he, something had to shift?
Well, the government would always go into the villages and say, kids have to go to school. Kids have to go to school. And they would always check in. So even though they were farming and taking care of goats, they still were made to go to school and do some learning. And so it turned out that he was really good, man, and brilliant at school. And he got a scholarship to go to a high school in the city, which is where my dad lives now. It's called Blantyre. And then from that high school, he got a scholarship to go to UK to study physics, you know. And then he graduated. To study physics. He was just, you know, here's someone taking care of goats and had no idea that they were really great at mathematics and physics. And so he ended up getting that scholarship, went to England and studied, and went back to Malawi, became a college professor.
So tell me how it was growing up in that environment. How was did you grow up with both your parents, or how? Did you have siblings? Or?
So my mother came from another country called Zimbabwe. She ran away from a war, right? Her mom and dad put her and her little brother on a bus and just say, go to Malawi. There's a cousin there. There's a war here, and we want you guys to be safe. So she ended up as a night student at the same university that my dad was lecturing at. And so they met up, got married, you know,
So both your parents are fully educated. They came from academia. That's why they all this greatness is being spread. They came both from
man, I grew up on a college campus, the whole nine. But my dad, you know, when he was in England, mind you, he was in England during the Beatles and the time of the Muhammad Ali and all those people. So he just partied his life away, man. He just wowed out in England, you know. And when he came back home in Malawi, he started this nightclub, and then he got sick, you know, and pretty much he was dying, and he was in the hospital, and this guy, a pastor, actually went in the hospital, and he was praying for people, and it was like, hey, if God heals you, will you follow him? Will you let him use you? Because I feel like you have so much in you that can help a lot of people. And he was desperate, and he was like, yeah. And so right there, you know, his life turned around, and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
So,
And
so before that, he was like out there in the streets partying, and you know, death was at his door.
yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
was he like really desperate, like really looking? Now,
desperate.
do you
Yeah.
remember that time when he transitioned? Do you remember? Like, there must have been a time. Were you old enough to remember, like, him being a different lifestyle and then changing, or did this all happen before you was born?
So this actually happened just when I was born, but I
Okay.
saw the long transition, man. Right? I saw the transition of him trying to fist fight people in the parking lot, and you know, and all that crazy stuff. It was a slow transition, and I was there for it all, you know. And then I grew up always feeling like, man, there's a big world out there, and I feel like I'm gonna leave Malawi one day, right, and go to America or England, and I feel like I'm gonna do big things. I always felt like the entire world was gonna be my platform. I just always felt that way. There was always this feeling that felt like um, that, you know, there
Like
was just going to be big
your
things that I was
voice.
going to do. Yeah. And so I started learning music, you know, learning how to write. And
You learned it while you was young with your dad. Did your parents play music at all or anything?
nope, they didn't play music. So my dad found a band that was breaking up, and they were selling their equipment, and he offered them pennies, and they were like, take it. So I left school one day and went home, and all this gear was in my room, right? And I started learning how to play and teaching myself. And later on, he got me a music teacher, and I just continued to learn. Initially, I wasn't good enough, and I want to encourage people out there: don't trip over the fact that you're not good enough at the beginning. Just remain consistent. Keep doing it. Keep going. Just remain consistent. I just kept going. I remember days when people used to be like, dude, you're not good enough, you know? And I just kept going. And man, long story short, I came to America, you know, and I'm now a Dove nominated songwriter. It's wild. It's crazy.
Bro, that journey is amazing. But I want to go back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I know, I mean, you're this guy in Africa. Were you in Malawi at the time, or in the city? Okay.
Yep.
So you have these big dreams, feeling that inside that you have to like do something greater, right?
Yeah.
And for a young black man, especially African, right? There's a lot of limitations and a lot of walls that you must have encountered, or perceptions and different things. What was your biggest like roadblock or difficulty that you had to like overcome, like transition into America? Like, you know, do you have anything like that? Like, you know, where you had to like...
Yeah, absolutely. Transitioning into America was tough, man. It starts here, right? When you're coming from one of the 10th poorest countries in the world, you know, mentality-wise, you're just thinking, you feel defeated, you know. I'll never forget arriving in Boston on December the 2nd, 1998, and just looking at the skyscrapers, and I've never seen such tall buildings, and just thinking to myself, will I ever amount to anything here? This is just intimidating. This is too big. And I think that happens with a lot of people. We listen to these voices that say you're not good enough, you're not this and you're not that. You just hear these voices. Everybody hears those voices. And I would continually hear that, you know. And then, of course, when I started submitting my music to producers, and, you know, I'll never forget when the first time somebody said to me, don't quit your daytime job, you know. You hear people saying words that are going to defeat you. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to do it when you don't feel like it. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep going. You have to surround yourself with the right people that are going to encourage you. But you don't want to give up on yourself. So all types of things, man. I mean, just the
So
cultural
like
differences,
was
you know.
big. Was
Yeah.
big. So okay, so you're in Africa, right? You're figuring out how to come to America, right? Or how did you how would that transition like in middle school, high school? How was that experience, and how did you get to a point where you said, okay, I need to come to America? Like, how did that like?
Yeah. 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 That's
Escalate?
so. There was this pastor man, a preacher who came to Malawi, and he was there to speak. And my dad met him, and he heard me play actually, you know. And just like that, man, miraculous things happen. He was like,
Oh,
"That
wow.
boy there is destined for greatness,"
Wow.
and I feel like something is telling me that I need to pay his way into America.
No, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, crazy. His name is David Marshall from
That's
Hereford in England.
nah, I can't believe that. I can't
Right,
believe it.
right,
No, did he?
right.
So he heard you. He heard you play. Okay, so you. Okay, wait. Let's back up because I like to
Yeah.
like get in the story.
Yeah.
So what was the scenario? You was home. When did he listen to you play? Was you at your dad's church, or what was the scenario? What was the setup here?
Yeah. I was at my dad's church.
Okay.
And he came to Malawi because he wanted to support an orphanage.
Okay.
So he was there, and somebody invited him, to come and check out my dad's church. And there I was, playing. Yet again, I want to say this to everybody: remain consistent and remain faithful. Just a lot of people are always like, "How can I get from point A to point B?" The way to get from point A to point B is to be faithful at point A. So I was just faithful, right? Playing for my dad, just helping him out. Now you got to remember, my dad, he was still rough at this point, just still rough on the edges at this point, And so there are days when I would be playing and he's getting upset, he's losing it and all that stuff. But I remained faithful, and consistent until this guy came. And he was like,
and when you say you remain faithful and consistent, were you like playing at the church for years, or what do you mean that you remain faithful and consistent?
years.
How long
You
were
gotta
you
remember, I started playing when I was only 11 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't come to America until I was 19.
Oh, okay. So for 8 years straight, you were just playing at the church and whatever.
Church.
Okay, and then he just came in and he heard you. Were you singing at the time? What was the? Were you just playing the piano?
Just playing piano. Just playing the piano in the church.
So that's more than he. I mean, because anybody can play. I'm not saying anybody can play piano, but there's something that he saw, some light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always feel like people don't realize the connection sometimes. Not you, of course, but like there's light that's happening. Like he sees you, and God is telling him, or inspiring him to say, hey, there's a journey that this guy has to be on, and either he can be faithful to God, he can be faithful to or decide to just do his own thing, But his faithfulness is just so that's amazing.
Yeah, man. He paved my way here. This man actually just turned 80 last year, and I had the privilege of shooting a video and honoring him and thanking him on his 80th birthday, and yeah, he helped me out. He paved my way out here.
So isn't that beautiful? Like he has impacted you in such a way that your kids, your family, they all is impacted by this man of that God used. So it's such a blessing that you'll be able to honor him during this time.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I love to be generous.
Yeah.
Right. I love to be generous. I love to give. I love to help other people because somebody else,
Okay.
Me,
Yeah. So, but I want you really to describe. I know you're being positive. But I want you to describe I know people like a specific scenario where someone really before coming to America, was it the institutional things that happened, or where you had to work around situations where you had to navigate, where you had to practice forgiveness and go up and left or right, or there had to be something that you had to cut. I mean, let's face it, all reality, the odds are against you. Cards are stacked up against you. So it's not about everyone helping Zenzo. You know,
Oh, man.
that wasn't the bulk of the story. I know. I mean, it's blessing because we know that that's what God used, and thank God that you can focus on that. But there's some scenario that happened where which I think is a testament to your character, where you only focus on what is a blessing. You know, you don't. All the other stuff is good, but you know, for my audience, we like to trash sometimes. Yeah. No, we don't like to trash. We like to know the itty gritty, like what really like things that you kind of you have to fight against. You know?
Yeah, man. Had to. Here's the real, man. Had to go through it all. You know, just people pushing you down, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Listen, all the way. I think the biggest shocker for me, and I don't like to go here as much, but the biggest shocker for me was racism, right?
Yeah.
And it's real. And when you're leaving Africa, coming out here, you don't think about that as a real thing, you know. And I never,
because you're surrounded by everyone.
Yeah.
You know. Yes, I have one of my good friends. He's he's a doctor in Nigeria. He's telling me that when in Nigeria, you don't even know you're black.
No, you don't.
Only when you come here. Yeah, it's like, oh wow.
Yeah, and it's also classification, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be here. You're middle class, or you're this. You're all class. So I think initially, man, it was I have some music, right? I felt like I had some music. I have these songs in me, and I'm presenting them to people. And at first, some people are blocking you from even just presenting those songs. You know,
wow.
to people. I remember going
because you're not supposed to present them. You're not the package that's supposed to be presenting.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be going through somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. Man, listen, I remember the first time when I got thrown out of a hotel in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh.
You know, dude, that was crazy.
What happened? Tell us.
Well, me and my boys, right? I was in a singing group. So my boys and I were standing in line at a hotel, getting ready to check in, and we noticed that they were not attending to us, even though we were next in line. And so I went up and said, "Hey, man, I just wanted you guys to know that we've been standing here, we're next in line." And the dude was like, "I'll get to you when I get to you," type thing. And so I wasn't really getting it. I wasn't understanding what was going on. So I went back, "Hey, man, just so you know, politely." And it was like, "I told you guys already. I have all these people to serve, and I'll get to you when I feel like getting to you guys." And so all of a sudden it dawned on me, like, man, what's going on right now? So I went back and I was like, "Hey, man, we really want to sleep and rest and get freshened up." And then he started saying, "No, you guys, you 5 black guys are scaring me right now. I'm gonna call the police. You guys have to leave." And man, we're just standing here. We just want a hotel room. And so we're like, okay, cool. Maybe him calling the police is a good thing, because the cop will get to hear our story. Then we can get our room. When the cop showed up, man, he was like, "I don't even want to hear your story. You guys get out of here right now." Threw our bags outside the hotel. And I remember thinking, man, I've never experienced this before. I can't believe people actually, experience this. So it was a lot of stuff, but I think a lot of it is your own personal mind, man. Just, looking down on yourself. Of course, everybody's not that way, but that was a shock. That was a big shocker coming from Africa, and you're thinking, see, where I come from, this is what they say. They say that America is an amazing place. It's the next step just before heaven, right? Yeah. And so you're thinking, yo, it's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be everything. I can be whatever I want to be. And then all of a sudden you're facing racism, and somebody's like, "You're different," and you're being treated differently. That was a shocker, but that can never be an excuse, by the way. I'm always a big believer that can never be an excuse, because
it's motivation to just bring people together, and it's show that we all are one people opposed to difference. Because when you share light, you continue to show people that we all continue to be an example of what is righteous, what is holy, And all of us at the end of the day are just, we're spiritual beings, the Lord, we're experiencing this human body, but we're spiritual beings, what I mean? So all of us, so we get caught up in this flesh sometimes, so many times, but it's just a temporary caucus.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course I went through seasons where I wanted to go to school, and but I had to work and earn the money for myself.
Yeah.
I remember working overnight shifts and going right into class and falling asleep. Just hardship like that, man. I remember days when I just didn't have enough money to pay my insurance, right? So here I am driving around with a car with an expired insurance, which then they expire your license. And, one time I got arrested before, dude, because my license was suspended, and I had no idea that was going on. And all these things are breaking you, right? Just breaking you. Dude, just go back home. Just go back home. Just go back to your home, and you just have to keep pressing, keep pushing, keep praying, keep believing, and then, as you already know, man, we started Impact Church in Boston, of all the places in the world, 7 years ago.
Oh.
And that thing just exploded, reaching thousands, and and I'm 10 minutes away from the same place where I landed, man, at Logan Airport, and looked outside and was so intimidated by the skyscrapers. And I said to myself, can I ever do anything significant here? Or am I going to be a little grasshopper in the midst of this big city?
Bro, that journey in itself is amazing. And I want to impact some of the stuff beforehand. Like, so when you had to, can you hear me? Because it's freezing up a little bit.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, because it was like cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you had to go to school and you're doing the night shift and you're, going through that process to kind of figure things out, you said something that was very interesting. Like, at every juncture, you kept on hearing, "Go back home." Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Go back home.
Yeah.
You might have to go off. I feel like you're freezing. Do anyone see him freezing? Because I see him freezing. I just want to make sure. Because right now.
No,
can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I think you might have to get on your wireless because you're sometimes I have to switch it off. Is it me? How you guys can you guys comment if you can hear him, or is he freezing? Because I'm seeing him freezing.
Yeah, they're saying
there?
They can hear me.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
They said they can hear you? Okay, well, I might be freezing. Because I don't see nobody say they can hear you. It's just stuck. All right, so as you was traveling through, right, and you was figuring out your next step, it's like I feel like it keeps going in circles. Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking.
Yeah.
So as you was traveling through and you was figuring out your next step, right? And there's so many things coming at you. You said that you kept on hearing over and over, "Go back home." Why are you doing this? Like, what was those kind of voices telling you? Like, to quit?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. You just have to give up, man. Just quit. Just stop right here. But also just go back to what you know. Go back to what's comfortable, right? Go back to what's safe. Go back to, yet again, just what's comfortable. And it's so easy to just go back to just go back to what's comfortable and stop pioneering and stop breaking new ground and stop setting new trends and stop breaking new ground, right? That's what you keep hearing, man. Listen, I haven't stopped hearing that. You hear it all the time, but you learn to coexist with that.
Yeah, I took off my wireless because I feel like it's freezing. I don't know what.
Oh, you're better now.
Oh, it's better? Okay,
yeah.
I was freezing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it must have been my Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I thought it was you.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's me. Okay. All right, thank God. I'm like, dang, I want to get some good clips. And I know you'll say some good stuff. All right, so you kept on hearing the voice of like, go back home. What are you doing here? You have to grind through it, right? Because at the end of the day, I feel like what was driving you, that purpose, like, because there must have been times that you have been discouraged by what was going on, and you might wanted to quit a couple of times. There must, I mean, I know you're not telling half the story because I know you miss the positivity, but I know there's been times probably was really like, what am I doing here? Like, I can't do it. This is too big. Like you said, the skyscraper. I'm just a small kid from Africa. This is Boston. And you're in a city. Let's not forget, Boston is not like, Orlando is more affordable. Other cities are more, you're one of the most expensive cities to live in America.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So for you to even survive there and for you to even be able to like even have equity there and build your own, it's an amazing journey in itself.
Yeah.
But before that, you said like the voices never go. It's still whatever. But at that time, you had to push through it, right? What was really driving you?
Yeah, you have to push through that. You know, a lot of prayer, man. A lot of prayer. You know.
So you stayed in
prayer. It just encourages you, right? And listen, let's go back to when I was 5, right? When I was 5, another preacher, right, came to actually speak for my dad. He was a preacher from Zimbabwe. And I remember that my father took me to go grab him from his hotel to bring him to the meeting. And so he made me sit on his lap and he made me count how many fingers, right? My right hand and then fingers of my left hand. And I was like, yeah, 5, you know? And then he was like, yeah, that's 5. And I was 5 years old at the time. And so he said to me, so you counted 5 fingers in your right hand and you counted 5 fingers on your left hand. And I want you to remember today that you're 5 years old. And I want you to remember this today, that God's calling you to do big things in life. He's gonna use you to reach a lot of people. And then I remember him saying this, you know, you're gonna build churches and you're gonna do music, and he says your face will be seen on TV and all. He said all these things, and I don't know what made him to make me count, you know, 5 fingers on my right hand and 5 fingers on my left, but subconsciously, that's how I remember that I'm supposed to do big things for God in the world. I'm supposed to impact a lot of people. I'm supposed to lead a lot of people and help a lot of people. And so since that day, man, I always felt that in here, man. I just always felt that in here. I'm supposed to do great things. I'm destined to touch a lot of people. I'm supposed to impact a lot of people. And he also said this. He said number 5 is the number of grace. You know, in numerology, 5 is the number of grace and favor. So he said there's going to be a lot of grace and favor upon your life. Wonderful things will happen to you. Great things will happen to you. People will want to bless you. And so, man, I just always believed that, you know, and I would take walks and I'll just speak. I'm going to do great things. Great things are going to happen to me. You know, I'd wake up in the night sometimes because of nightmares or whatever, and I'll just start speaking. I'm going to do great things. And I want to encourage people. You have to speak to yourself. You have to encourage yourself. You have to see greatness in you before anybody sees greatness in you. You have to encourage yourself. You have to talk yourself out of anxiety. You have to talk yourself. You just have to encourage yourself. And I know anxiety is a real thing, and sometimes it's not as easy, but you just have to do it. Press through and speak life over yourself. I'm great. I'm going to do great things. You know, God chose me. I'm created by God, and I'm predestined to do great things. You know, and so that person, man, he really helped me out because I always felt that within me because of that 5, man. That 5, you know.
5. I didn't even know 5 was like the number of grace and
great favor.
What do you say to the people, like, you know, like the individuals that have had more of a harder journey in life? What you had a hard journey, but maybe they don't have as much people speaking into their lives. Yeah. And they found God, right? They found, you know, they found their purpose, and they have people in their life speaking to them. But they didn't. They came from a scenario where everyone was taking and talking down on them.
Yeah.
What do you say to that individual going through that journey and fighting, you know, certain challenges in life?
So number one, you're not the only one. You know, I think about Dr. Martin Luther King this week. We're celebrating MLK and just the environment that he lived in. Yet he had a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. You know, I believe that everybody's a 10 in some area, and I believe that everybody has this innate thing that God put inside of you. It's purpose. It's purpose. There's an assignment, and you feel it and you know it. And sadly, some people are raised in environments where people are speaking negatively, and they're distracting that and killing that and trying to destroy that. You know, so one, that's why I always talk about prayer. You know, talk to yourself. Pray. Two, surround yourself. Find some friends, man. Find some people that believe in you. Find some people that believe in you. But before you can find people that believe in you, man, believe in yourself and speak life over yourself. Listen,
so you have to speak over yourself.
You only live once, right? You might as well speak life over yourself and declare faith over yourself. And then find some people, some friends who can speak life into you. Find some mentors. I had a lot of great mentors along the way, a lot of great friends along the way, but you have to believe in you first.
Yeah. And I feel like the common theme is I would call them demons. Your demon is what's in your head talking to you, right? Yeah. Some people is outside coming at you, whatever, you know, and you have that in your head. So it's like you're struggling, you're fighting the world, and it can get tiring sometimes. But like you said, there's a journey to kind of get to a place where you need to preserve your peace. You need to preserve what God has put inside you, you know? You need to preserve the journey because of the greater purpose, you know?
Listen, when I was nominated for a Dove, right? You know, the guy that told me 10 years earlier that I told me, you need to just quit that, man. That's not your thing. I saw him there, by the way, right?
Whoa, you saw him at the...
I saw him at the event, you know, when I was nominated for a Dove. And he wasn't a mean guy. I think he was just trying to give me truth based on where he was at the time, right? But those words, they hurt. They definitely hurt when you hear somebody say, I don't think you're good at it. Well, I was transitioning from another country, right? I was transitioning from another culture, and I was still figuring it out. And so maybe when I sent him the songs, it was too early. You know, they were not good. But what he said motivated me, right? I allowed that to actually motivate me and not to destroy me. You know, but it didn't feel good. I wanted to quit. I wanted to stop altogether. And that's going to happen, man. That's going to happen. People are going to tell you some things that are going to challenge you. You're going to go through life's situations, whether it's sickness, whether it's, you know, just whether it's sickness, whether it's a sickness of a child, whether it's divorce, whether it's rejection. You're going to go through some stuff, man, that are very, very challenging. But you have to keep going. You know, just this.
You have to use it to motivate you. Use it as fuel for motivation.
Got to learn how to suffer well.
Suffer well. And long suffering is part of the plan, right?
That's it. That's suffering well.
Yeah. Sometimes try to act like long suffering is not part of the plan. God said suffering is part of the plan. You know, where do our joy come from? You know? So, okay, wow. Okay, so just to backpedal. So the guy that told you 10 years beforehand that your songwriting wasn't up to par and you should just quit, was aligning with your personal thoughts. You know, the personal fears that you was having by yourself, like, what am I doing? Who do I think I am? You know, that's those things that come up, like, what are you doing? This is too big. You just quit, you know? But you kept on persevering, right? You kept on persevering. Long suffering brings what? Perseverance.
That's it.
You know? So you kept on persevering. And then the same guy, while you go to like you get nominated. Okay, you co-wrote that song, "My Worship" with Phil Thompson.
Yeah.
This is my worship.
Yeah.
You know, it's a popular song. And if you're a Christian, you probably know that song. So you co-wrote that song. So when you get to the award ceremony, you see this guy. Did you guys make eye contact? Did he like? It wasn't like not an awkward conversation, like, "Hey, how you doing?" But it was like this thing that you guys know, but you guys don't talk about. How was it?
Yeah. So I met him. You know, it was one of those what you doing here? You know, type thing. You know, and yet again, he wasn't being mean at all. Wasn't being mean at all.
But he didn't know that you got nominated, right?
Yeah, because I wasn't there as an artist, right? So of course he knew Phil was there. I was just there as a co-writer, you know.
Yeah.
So he didn't know I was gonna be there. He didn't even know that I had a hand in my worship. And so he sees me, and this was like towards the end, actually, you know. I went to the bathroom, right? Because I was there with my wife. So I went to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I was walking back to go find my wife, you know. And I meet him in the hallway. "Hey man, how you doing, man? What you doing here?" and you know, humbly I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm here because I co-wrote a song that was nominated." He was like, "What, for real?" I was like, "Yeah," and he just congratulated me just like that. And I walked away just like that, man. You know, so he, you know, what he was saying wasn't even personal. Like what happened years before wasn't even personal. You know, that's just how he felt. You know, and he was obviously surprised at this point.
Do you feel,
you know,
like a lot of people journey through life, and sometimes people say things with good intention, but it's devastating.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Sometimes not picking up the victim mentality, but
man, that's
taking on a mantra like, "Okay, I'm gonna use this as fuel to get better," and not to demonize the person who said it. You know what I mean?
There you go.
You could have easily had something on your shoulder when you saw him, and which I think a lot of people do. They get angry and they don't practice forgiveness, and they create this thing where I feel like it brings other issues with that. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Like, you got to let it go. You know. And now your relationship with him is still preserved. So, like, yeah,
man. It's like what you're saying. There are times when people mean well, right? They mean well, but you can take this victim mentality, you know, and go on this journey of unforgiveness and bitterness, and then, you know, bitterness begets bitterness, and then they make babies, and then there's more babies, and then there's all these other issues you're going through, can literally make your body sick, you know, over something that somebody has maybe even forgotten that they said, you know. And so you gotta follow the inner voice, man. When that guy who helped me with the 5-5-5-5, you know, he was like, you know, there's a call upon your life, there's a mission, and it's a great mission. And if I can be honest, I think he just confirmed what I was already sensing, you know. So you have to follow that. Even when the guy was like, you know, "You're not good enough," I was just committed to the mission. I was just committed to the call. I was just committed, you know. And sometimes I think we trip over results. And faith is not about results, right? The Bible says it's impossible to please God without faith. It doesn't say it's impossible to please God without results, you know. And so just walk the journey, man. Just commit to the process. So what I said to myself was, okay, whether I become good or not, and I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to people, but I knew the dream was so strong in me. I said, whether I become good or not, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. So I'm gonna just do this faithfully, you know, and I'm just gonna continue going.
If I come out of it, I come out of it. If I not, it is what it is.
And enjoy the process. After all, I'm having a lot of fun. You know, I'm just gonna have a lot of fun. You know.
Okay, but now you're not talking about one thing that you've done that's kind of great. Like you came to Boston area, and then you bring together like worship or a night of worship or something like that. And can you kind of describe that whole like process of how you kind of built that up, and then you know how it had impacted the local community and
Yeah,
throughout?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a part of the journey that's also just so powerful.
Yeah.
We got to see thousands of people in the city of Boston coming together. And it was something that had never happened before in this region.
But
But
okay, you're the one who coordinated,
yeah,
right? Was it you and somebody else, or was
yeah,
it your idea, or how
yeah.
was it?
It was an idea I got, and I was coordinating those and putting those together. That in itself was groundbreaking. Um, I just yet again, I was praying, man. I was praying, right? And I just saw thousands of people with my eyes closed like that, and people gathered in some of the largest auditoriums and arenas in Boston. And I saw people in open fields or just stadiums packed, and it just made
But
sense to me.
Zenzo,
Yep.
you're the small kid from Africa. What are you doing? What are you doing having these big visions? Who are you?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
who do you think you are?
listen, man. When you pray and you close your eyes like this, at that point, it's not a matter of where you come from, the color of your skin, your education. Man, listen, vision is free, man. And if you're gonna dream, you might as well dream big because it's free, you know.
Vision
And
is
so,
free.
that's what happened, man. And I started going around, same thing, man. I started going around to pastors and started saying, "This is the vision that I'm seeing, and let's rally together and do this." And at the beginning, man, it was people and pastors and leaders in the region telling me, this doesn't happen in Boston. This kind of stuff happens in Dallas, Texas, happens in the Bible Belt, but this type of things don't happen in Boston. And yet again, it wasn't anything about those pastors. They were not bad people. They were not trying to, destroy my life or my vision. And of course, what they were saying was true, right? Up to that point, they hadn't seen anything like that, and so you have to believe in that vision, and you have to keep going. So I
So what was
started
the
mobilizing.
impact? Yeah.
What?
So
Go
what was
ahead,
the impact? How many people? How many?
man. That thing exploded, man. Our largest one, we had about 15,000 people at City Hall, and we were televising it on God TV. And I got to go to TBN. By the way, TBN at the time had a reach of 3.2 billion people. And I got to go on there. And then we're televising on God TV. God TV had a reach of 500 million people, a half a billion people, It was crazy. My mother was watching. My parents were watching from Malawi. People were watching worldwide. People were watching in Saudi Arabia. People were watching in Afghanistan. It was worldwide, man, at that point. It was crazy. And it's like, here's the music I started learning, remember, in my bedroom when my father got that equipment from a band that was breaking up. And it's like the years of faithfulness and playing for my father and all those years of doing all that culminates to this place where it's now a world platform, but you've been faithful and you've been doing it for a long time.
Wow. You must have sat back and you see all this, and you see what were you like in your heart? How did you feel? Like, whether just affirmation, were you so grateful? What was your journey like internally?
At that point, you have this. I call it a fear of God personally.
Yeah.
Because the first thing you say is, what if I didn't believe, right? What if I didn't step out in faith? Then all these people we're helping, all these people that we're touching, and all these people that have found purpose in this, what would have happened? It puts a fear of God in you. Like, wow, I needed to believe in all this, I needed to believe in God. And at that point, it's all about bringing glory to God, it's because of the journey. It's all about Him, So you will find me many times. I do hashtag to God be the glory, because when He's said and done, it's only God, man, that can put a vision in this boy from one of the poorest nations in the world, get a missionary to pay my way here. And I can't tell you how many miraculous things have happened along the way. I can't tell you how many mistakes I've made personally that God showed me mercy, and but you just gotta believe, and you
And
gotta.
you said if you dream, you might as well dream big.
Yeah.
Because it's free.
Free.
That's a quote of a lifetime. I mean, it's
It's
free.
free.
Might as well dream big. You
Why
close your
would you
eyes
dream
and pray.
small, man? It's free. You're not paying anything for it.
Yep.
You know, and it happens in here, man. Dream, pray, and the truth is, it's not really you dreaming. It's really God just giving you something that was formed before you were formed in your mother's womb. You know, and sadly, there are all these opposing factors that come in to stop that. You're not a mistake, man. You're not here as a mistake. And you're not here to just, you know, it's crazy. They say if you live to be 70 years old, you spend 20 years watching TV, right? Yeah. It's crazy. You spend 6 months at a stoplight. And you're not here by mistake. You know, there's a reason why, the doctor who was working the day you were born could not make a mistake, and you're here today. There's a reason why the car accident didn't take you. There's a reason why after everything you've been through, you haven't had a nervous breakdown, or you had a nervous breakdown and you came out of it. There's a reason you're still breathing today. There's a reason COVID didn't kill you.
Yes.
Right? There's a reason COVID didn't kill you. There's a reason you're watching this right now, right?
Exactly.
There's a reason you're still right here, right now, watching this. There's something big in your life.
Now, I have a question for you. How, like, the impact, like, you currently are leading a congregation, right?
Yep.
And we have a couple minutes left, but can you briefly describe, like, that journey and where is that now? Like, where you started, where is that now? Because I feel like a theme throughout this discussion has been vision and receiving vision in the midst of everything that's coming against you. Because you're going to have all these challenges, but sometimes we have to hold on to the vision, even when no one else sees it. But it seemed like you had a coalition behind you that has helped you to propel that. I don't think everyone has that, but the commonality is hold on to the vision, you know, and God will bring the right people around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do believe yet again that it's God who gives the vision. So God himself lines up everything you need to get there. Yeah. You can make yourself become a victim in it, right? Yeah. Or you can suffer well, long suffering, and keep pushing.
Suffer well.
And have faith, you know, and believe that, you know, the God who's given you that vision, he himself will make it come to pass. So when it comes to impact, right, we're doing these big nights. Yet again, we're on TV, man. We're on God TV, and we're on TBN and all that stuff. And the vision was growing. And in the midst of that, because these were big nights with thousands of people coming there. But there was this hunger to now start touching people on a one-on-one level, to start discipling people and touching people and impacting people, you know, walking, doing life with people. So all of a sudden, the excitement for the big nights and the thousands and the lights, I just started losing that somehow, you know, and I also started hearing people say, I wish there was a church where you're not judged. I wish there was a church where a church that looks like the train station, cross-cultural. You know, out here, young people especially say, I'd go to church if I didn't have to wear all the suits, or I'll go to church if this and this and this and that. And one day I felt like, here we go, vision yet again. One day I felt like God was saying, hey, why don't you help become the solution, you know, and create that church environment where young people can be trusted, young people can become leaders, where there's a culture of generosity, where there's a culture of grace, where people are not judged. At the same time, there's a culture of accountability where they're not judged, but they're also not left to be where they are. They're challenged. Everybody has to be challenged. Everybody has room for improvement. You know, build a church that looks like the train station, you know, build a church that believes in people. You know, I just felt like, okay, let's just be that solution. And so I started burning with this desire, and then I started thinking, how can I do this? I don't have the money. And at the time, we had saved up a little bit of money, my wife and I, shout out to my wife, Michelle, to buy our first home, man, you know, and she was just as crazy as me to let me take that down payment and blow it up, man, and use it.
So you have money for your first home.
Yeah.
And you guys was about to purchase it, and your wife stood behind you to put it into the church.
Yeah.
Wow.
To start the church.
That,
you know? Yeah.
That's having a partner that got your back.
You know, oh absolutely.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you
What a
need
blessing.
a partner that's right there with you. You need a partner that's
what a blessing.
right there with you.
Oh, you know how many?
And I was like, "Are you sure about this?
How many of us want that? Like, you got your back 100%. But I can't lie. You probably cultivated a community of trust, you know, and it's not only like
takes time.
Yeah,
takes time, and it wasn't just us, by the way. And then other young families, man, young couples started coming in and, you know, giving their time and giving their gifts, giving their talents, giving their finances. It was a community that came together around the vision, right?
Yes.
Around the vision.
But that's,
you know,
it's hard. Imagine you being a wife and you're sitting there and have to make a choice to build your future home, and you have the money right there. And then here comes my African husband. You know, want to take this money. She's seen what you can do, but you know what I mean? She trusts. I mean, it's a blessing. That's a testament to who you marry, testament to the commitment of your relationship, and that's an anointing, and that's a blessing in itself.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you gotta have a vision that's so big, and you have conviction. It's worth living and dying for, right? It's worth sacrificing everything you have, you know, to make it happen. And then right now, man, the thing is, we see so many people, you know, getting impacted. We call the church Impact. So many people.
Yeah, Impact in Boston. If you're in Boston, visit Impact Church. Go check it out. I mean, I'm going to cut this up, so it's going to be everywhere after I, you know, do promo on this. So you'll see it, Boston Impact Church. Now, can you describe how big the church is now, because we only have a couple more minutes. After this, we're going to do meet and greet. We're going to go to a Facebook group. That's only going to be like 15 to 30 minutes, not too much time.
Yeah,
but,
man, all glory to God. It's a church of over 2,000 members in 7 years, you know, and maybe more.
Don't most church fail within the first 2 years or 3 years or something like that?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Wow.
So yet again, man, to God be all the glory.
God be the glory. Congrats. This was an awesome, as I expected. This was an awesome discussion. It was very inspirational. I did not fail. When I did a promo on this, I said it's going to be inspirational. It's going to be impactful. Yeah. And I thank you for just telling us your story. And if you guys want to be a part of meet and greet next time, because the registration closed, make sure you register an hour before. We're going to go to the Facebook group, and then we're going to just do meet and greet and just spend a little time there. All right. Thank you, Zenzo, and God bless you guys.
Thank you.
And I'll text you, brother. All right.